and welcome to the Truth Radio Show with Dan Bedandi on this October 10th, 2014 worldwide transmission right here on Alternate Current Radio. And folks, we got a lot of news for you today. We're going to get into all the latest breaking news within this hour here. I mean, we got the U.S. Forest Service wants to fine people $1,000 starting next month for simply taking a picture in the forest. Unbelievable. I mean, talk about a police state, technocracy, control grid. We're going to cover a lot of that news as well, especially we got a huge stack here on the police state. I mean, every week we barely touch the police state stuff, and, I throw out the old articles and just keep stacking up. And I had to actually limit it down this week. These last 2 weeks have been insane with the police state, and I just limited it down to the most juiciest stories, and it's insane, it really is. And if it doesn't make your blood boil, you're not a human being, really. And, just take this whole technocracy control grid here. You got the whole Ebola virus and amongst other diseases spreading across the country and throughout the world, I should say. The CDC underplaying everything, of course. But they'll lie about the numbers. We talk about this all the time. They'll lie about the numbers when it fits their agenda. They'll say, 55,000 people died when it was only actually 3,000. They're underplay it. It's all according to fit their agenda. We're going to cover all this. And I know it sounds like all over the place here, but you know what? It's a mess what's going on here, folks. And we want to bring you this truth news that your mainstream media is not highlighting. Sure, they'll mention it here and there, or you get a little quirk in the local newspaper, but it's never highlighted. Say, hey, this is what's going on, folks. We need to wake up. And we're going to start right off. The United States Forest Service, this is by Esquire. They're reporting the United States Forest Service wants to fine you $1,000 for taking a picture in the forest. And the Forest Service oversees 36 million acres of wilderness in a month. And you won't be able to take a picture without them getting a fine. It's unreal. I mean, giving you a fine for $1,000 for taking a picture. Even if the new rules are unconstitutional, they say. So, first of all, let's back this up here, right? The U.S. Forest Service, okay, I want to let you know what your job is. Your job, by us, we pay your salary, the U.S. taxpayers. Your job is to simply protect the land and do maintenance to certain areas and everything else. That's it. You don't regulate and make laws. Who are you to say $1,000? And they would say, it's for commercial purposes, do the article. And, it doesn't matter. It's our forest. That's public land. I don't care what you say. That's public land. We shouldn't have to pay $1,000 fine or get permission. That's what the article says too. You got to get permission or whatever to take pictures in the forest. So you go out in the forest, some wildlife park, whatever. You go out in the forest and take a picture. You got a beautiful scenery with your kids and everything. You snap some photos. All of a sudden, the U.S. Forest Service officer comes over. Oh, let me see your camera, sir. Oh, what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. $6,000 fine, buddy. Or whatever they want. Even $1,000. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I encourage people. I emailed the U.S. Forest Service, and I guarantee the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, is also part of this. So I emailed these people and say, hey, you know what? We're standing up against you, and I'm going to publicly call for a public outrage on this. And if nothing gets done, I call for mass civil disobedience. And anybody that lives near forests everywhere, I think it was November 1st that's when they're going to push this. That's what they're saying by next month, because this article was the October 1st here, so they're saying next month. So what they're saying is probably November 1st, this law is going to go into what's not a law. I mean, it shouldn't even be recognized as a law. But this policy, or whatever they want to call it, is going to go into effect in November. So I'm encouraging everybody out there that lives by the forest, gather all your friends, neighbors, family, and everything, and go take mass pictures everywhere. You know what? They can't find you, all of you. And even if they do, you could fight it in court. And I guarantee the Supreme Court, if there's good people still in the Supreme Court, they're going to shoot this down. And if you get a good lawyer, the lawyer's going to eat this alive. $1,000 for taking a picture, you don't even have to be a commercialist or nothing. Just a regular picture of you and your family, or just taking a nice, beautiful picture because you're from out of state. You've never seen the forest before. $1,000 for taking a picture. Unbelievable. And again, I encourage people to get out there and say no. Get out there and take all the pictures. And it's just, it shows you right there. It's a federal land grab, what's going on. I mean, the whole Clive and Bundy Ranch with the BLM we talked about earlier this year, That was a whole debacle. It was all about a federal land grab, and the BLM not telling the public, hey, we want to build solar farms with China and all that on your land, not ours, yours, because it's the public's land, not the government's. It's the public's land. Okay, the National Forest, you people in the U.S. Forest Service, is our land, not yours. Get over it. And we will not comply with that. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go to the nearest forest. I'm going to take tons of pictures and come try to do something about it. You know, and it's just so, oh man, it just makes me so mad. Then they try to justify their whole thing with the Clive and Bundy and everything else, the ranch there. It's federal land, they say. It's public land. It's ours, not yours. Again, your job is to take care of it, not monitor it, to nanny-nize everything. Oh, you can't take pictures there. Next thing, that's my new word anyway. I coined that word, nanny-nized, because that's the nanny state. You know what I mean? They got to monitor everything you do. So they nanny-nize you to say, okay, you know what? It's for our safety, or it's for this, or it's for that. You know what I mean? It's nanny-nizing people. That's why I coined that word. I mean, it's a word I invented. And it's true. I mean, they're nanny-nizing everybody. To say, they're going to come up with some cockamamie excuse besides the commercial thing. Oh, it's for your safety because of terrorists, too. They're going to come up with all kinds of crap just like that. And it is that much far-fetched and ridiculous. And, speaking of government, I mean, we have Attorney General Eric Holder who stepped down. We talked about this as well. And we're going to go over this quickly. Al Sharpton, the race beta, that's right, the black reverend there that constantly preaches racial stuff. I mean, the guy, and it's not against the black people. I got friends who are black, good friends, okay? And it's nothing about that at all. But, the owner of the Redskins or the Los Angeles Clippers, whatever, made some comment that wasn't even true to come find out. And he got demanded by the NBA he had to sell his team. And or the Redskins name, it's not even a racial name. Redskins, that's Indians. How the hell is that racial against black people? The Redskins were always known as Native Americans. I'm Native American. And some of my family do have red skin. The real deep Indians in my family do have red skin. That's not racist. So anyway, you got this race beta, Al Sharpton. He's all right to make comments of, trashing white people constantly, and yet they give him a talk show. They give this guy a talk show and make him let him make these major decisions of government now. But anyway, Infowars.com reports that Al Sharpton may pick the next Attorney General because Commander-in-Chief there, his little buddy pal there, Eric Holder, stepped down. So Al Sharpton's saying may pick the next Attorney General. And would-be coke dealer and government informant, Al Sharpton may help the federal government pick Eric Holder's successor. And Sharpton's National Action Network is engaged in immediate conversations with the White House, the organization recently announced. And the resignation of Attorney Eric Holder is met with both pride and disappointment by the civil rights community, he said. And we are proud that he has been the best Attorney General on our civil rights in the United States history, and disappointed because he's leaving us at a critical time when we need his continued diligence most, according to the Business Insider. All right, Eric Holder, great actor, whatever he's saying, he's like, be proud of him, he was the best Attorney General ever. All right, what about Fast and Furious? What about Benghazi? What about when Eric Holder gave the Mexican drug cartels our weapons, gave them money, all in an attempt to blame the Second Amendment? What about these false flags that he was part of? So, yeah, he's the best Attorney General yet. He would be the best Attorney General if we were on our Nazi regime. And, again, Eric Holder and Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is a huge race baiter. That guy is the most racist person I ever met. And, he's just so ridiculous, this guy. And he gets a talk show. Unbelievable. Just being a race baiter. But, hey, anybody else that comes out to say something by accident, you have to sell your team. You have to be abolished from society. But, it's all right for Al Sharpton to constantly come out making racial slurs, not only against the United States and the Constitution, but against white people. And I'm not trying to promote no racial war. We have friends who are black, white, Hispanic, whatever. We're all the same. We all bleed red. God says we're all created equal. The Constitution says we're all created equal. So, that's the thing. But I don't promote no racial stuff. But, Al Sharpton does. He gets a talk show. He's a multimillionaire. He gets the choice to pick different things, and he's the voice of government, right. And we're fearing this to happen. Big Sister, I think we read this last week here, by Politico, they're saying that Big Sister to become the next Attorney General with the question mark. God forbid. That girl is a witch. I mean, she makes, actually, I have to say she's actually almost equivalent to Hillary Clinton. Both these people are a pure police state, pro-police state, Illuminati, Queen Jezebels. I mean, I don't know how to put it any better than that. That warmongers, murderers, I mean, these people are disgusting. But God forbid that Janet Napolitano, the big dung beetle, was to become the next Attorney General. And you notice how she stepped down from Director of Homeland Security? And every time somebody steps down, like Eric Holder stepping down as Attorney General, they're promised a bigger position or another position that they need them in government. So these people stepped down for a reason. Hillary Clinton stepped down while she was under the whole guys with the whole, under attack with the whole Benghazi thing, rightfully so. And she steps down to try to get away from it for a while. She's got to come back to say, hey, I'm going to run for president. And you got a bunch of morons that are supporting her. Let's run this woman for president that, I'm not even going to get into that. I really ain't. I mean, we got to move on. And this is ridiculous here. Atheists viciously attack Carrie Underwood's brand new song, and they want it banned. And and this is from AmericanNews.com, and they're saying that atheists attacking Carrie Underwood's song. And long story short, she made a comment saying, hey, well, the song's name is Washed in Blood. And it sings about baptism and being washed in blood with both these key symbols in the Christian religion. And Carrie Underwood said, well, she's not the first or the last. That's part of country music. She's not the first or last that's going to sing about Christianity. And you know what? These atheists, you're stupid. If you want to not believe in God, that's your right. I don't get involved with your right. I don't say you can't not believe in God. If you want to, that's whatever. But don't infringe upon our rights to say, hey, there can't be no songs around there. There can't be crosses up, whatever. You know what? You're not touching none of this stuff. I'm telling you right now. And we had this idiot right here in Providence. He's a journalist, Steve Alquist. His daughter, this started huge outrage all throughout New England. Banner that was hanging up for 55 years in Cranston West High School. It says, in Our Heavenly Father. Well, she puts up this little stink because she's atheist like her father. I met several times. He wrote several articles bashing me constantly. But anyway, she put up a big stink. She was labeled as a hero. And all of a sudden, they take this banner down, or cover up, I'm sorry, because it violated her rights. Well, you know what? You don't have a right to do that. Our First Amendment supports that banner being up there. You don't have to believe in it. You don't have to read it. Leave the damn thing alone. It just shows you that these atheist people are out of control like they did in Woonsocket, Rhode Island a couple of years ago. They tried all the way from Green Bay to say, hey, you can't have that cross on the Veteran Memorial. You can't have that. Well, you know what? We're going to have it. And it's too damn bad. We're going to have that Veterans Memorial there. And the people in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, they stood up against that. It's like, you know what? Even the mayor, the police chief, all these people stood up in veterans and said, you know what? Over our dead bodies, we don't care if the federal government passes a law, we are not removing that cross. And that's what people all over the country need to do. You need to stand up and raise the bar against these atheist people. And again, we don't go attacking atheists. If you don't want to believe in God, that's one thing, but don't come infringe upon my right to say I can't have that American flag on the house. Some Muslims out there that do this, or I can't have an American flag at my desk or on my locker, or I can't have an American flag on my car. I'll have anything the damn well I want on my car. All right, and you come try to remove it over my dead body. And if I want to have a cross outside of my house or my business, it's not a damn thing you're going to do about it. And I don't care what the Supreme Court says. I don't care what the state says. It's the Constitution that trumps all laws. So get it through your heads. It just pisses me off. And, we're off to a good start here because it's just, this stuff really curls your blood. It really does. And you got the United Kingdom. We're going to move on here. This is by Douglas Ernst by the Washington Times. The UK transsexual expects taxpayers to fund reverse sex change. No one should deny me. He or she says, this is ridiculous. A British transsexual who had a $15,000 sex change, I don't know what that is in pounds, but anyway, or the euro, whatever they use over there, a $15,000 sex change in 2007 now deems living as a female to be too exhausting and wants British taxpayers to pay roughly $22,000 to undo his original procedure. Chelsea Atonley, 30 years old, who was born Matthew, recently told British magazine Closer, I have always longed to be a woman, but no amount of surgery can give me the actual female body, and I feel like I am living a lie, the Daily Mirror reported Wednesday. No, you think? Yeah, and I'm not saying, I'm not going to go here and bash people or whatever. That's some kind of a mental disease. I really think it is. But if you're born with a penis, okay, you're a man. Period. You were born a man, you gotta die a man. Even if you get it cut off and have a vagina put in, you're still a man. Period. If you're born with a vagina, you're a woman. Get over it. It's just these people make me sick. And I'm not sitting here bashing gay people or whatever. This has nothing to do with that. It's just these people who think they could change the anatomy of themselves. You know what? You're born as a man or a woman, get the hell over it. Then you expect the taxpayers to pay this. Then you expect people to let you use the other opposite sex bathroom. They got kids in some schools doing this stuff too. I want to use the women's bathroom because I think I'm a girl, even though they didn't have a sex change yet. Or I want to use a man's bathroom because I think I'm a man. I really feel like I'm a man or a girl. You know what? No. And it's not violating your rights. No. Plain simple, no. You're born with, you had a penis when you're born. You're a man. No matter what you do or say, you are a man, period. And same thing with a vagina, you're a woman, period. Get over it. And got about a few seconds left for the break here. But man, this really pisses me off. I mean, I can't even say enough about it. But anyway, we do got to go to break. I will be right back. And we get back, we're get into the whole technocracy control grid because it's out of control, folks. And you listen to the Truth Radio Show right here on alternatecurrentradio.com. And welcome back to the Truth Radio Show right here on Alternate Current Radio. And I didn't mean to get off to a rant start here on the show. It's just like stuff like that just really grinds at you. It's like what really grinds your gear? Well, that's it right there. And anybody that knows me, I'm far from being politically correct. So if you think you got to listen to political correctness here or this guy's not politically correct, you got the wrong damn show. Because I'm far from political correctness and I could care less. And there's no room in this movement for anything truth, liberty, freedom, or anything. And no room in it at all for political correctness. So if you're political correctness, hey, go watch a brain-dead zombie mainstream media news. All right? Because there's no room for that here. And you're not going to get it here. I tell it like how it is. I mean, the truth hurt me at a couple times in my life. The truth's got to hurt you. Get over it. Period. And before we get to the technocracy news, I just want to cover a couple more articles here. Republican congressman urges military officers to rebel against Obama. Paul Joseph Watson reports this. Republican members of Congress are urging military officers to rebel against Obama's administration's Middle East and foreign policy to resign in the blaze of glory, according to the U.S. Republican Doug Lamborn of Colorado. And during a Liberty Group forum on Wednesday night in the basement of a Colorado Springs bar, Lambert, a member of the House Armed Services Committee, answered the question from a member of the audience who urged members of Congress to, quote-unquote, support the troops in absence of leadership from the White House. It's the whole thing is like, this is on Infowars.com, and a Republican congressman urges military officers to rebel against Obama. Sure, which is a good thing, but don't forget the other side of the token, too. When Bush was in the White House, you had Democrats urging people to military officers as well to rebel against Bush. So you see it when, it's back and forth. And Republicans is a controlled right and he's controlled left. It's the same thing. It's just when they flip the coin, when one's in power, they flip it over to say, it's the right-wing, left-wing false paradigm. So yes, the Republicans are calling for something good, but they do the same damn thing when one of their people are in power there. And it's just a mind job, really is. But you got a poll here that says 70% of troops say no more boots on the ground in Iraq. But it's not up to you because you had that quote, Henry Kissinger says you're nothing but a bunch of dumb, stupid animals to use as pawns of foreign policy. Henry Kissinger quoted that about the United States military. But anyway, the poll says 70% of troops say no more boots on the ground in Iraq. The Military Times reports this poll: 70% of troops say no more boots on the ground in Iraq. And right there is a graph, and you can see on the article. And those of you watching, because this show gets posted on YouTube probably over the weekend. Anyway, you listen to it live right here now on Friday night. So Saturday, Sunday, the show will be posted, the live video edition of this, so you can see the articles up on the screen, so you can see what we're talking about. And you got Afghanistan signs accord keeping U.S. troops past 2014. Well, no kidding. We said that they're going to monopolize some kind of way to keep troops in the Middle East. And they're going to do the same thing for Iraq. I mean, it's, even though Obama said, we're going to pull troops out of Iraq, but his agenda is to keep them there too, keep them all over the Middle East because they want to occupy. And it's not occupying, it's divide and conquer. It's nothing to do with freedom. The military over there are not fighting for freedom. They're not fighting to liberate nothing. All they're fighting for, unknowingly, is they're fighting for a new world order. They're fighting for the brand new Nazi 2.0 regime, which is the United States government and the United Nations. Divide and conquer. But, you got a lot of great troops out there who are, thinking in their minds they're defending the homeland, whatever, but they're not. And they don't realize it until they get over there. And that's why the military put on the top of the terrorist watch list when you get home by Homeland Security, because you realize the war is a fraud. Nothing to do with freedom. So when you get home, hey, that's a terrorist because he knows the truth. He could see. So he could see that little elderly, crept up a little old man behind the curtain pulling the levers. Not this great, wonderful Wizard of Oz. Just this little the elite, that's what they are. A bunch of spineless cockroaches, old people that sit behind a curtain all day and just pull the levers and act like they're these great and powerful people. And they have great and powerful people, good ones, that blindly serve their purpose. And they have no idea until they actually get into the actions and know, hey, wait, this ain't about freedom. This is about a takeover of the entire world. And that's why they're putting on top of the Homeland Security's watch list, unfortunately. And, God bless the troops, man, but you need to wake up and say, hey, we're done. Come home, defend the homeland, shut every base down across the world, reopen the bases here in America and say, we had enough of the globalism. George Washington told us, do not get involved with this empire, do not join alliances with other nations because they'll come in and bring us down. And it's unconstitutional. Every war that's going on right now, every battle is unconstitutional. Bring all the military home. And, say that to the president, and tell him, too bad. We're not going to obey orders. We're going to follow the Constitution. We're going to defend the homeland. Somebody attacks us, then we'll, whatever, but we're going to come back and defend the homeland. That's exactly the way it should be. But anyway, Los Angeles Times report, Afghan signs accord on keeping U.S. troops past 2014. The Afghan government signed an agreement Tuesday allowing several thousand American troops to remain in the country beyond the end of the year, ending a long tussle over the U.S. military presence that had soured relations between Kabul and Washington. And finalizing the obliterated strategic agreement, a long sought of Obama administration was one. In fact, the new administration, President Afghan Ghani, who took the office Monday, Ghani's national security advisor, Mohammed Hanif Atmar, led the delegation of Afghan officials who signed the pact of the presidential palace, at the presidential palace. And again, it's to keep more troops past 2014, which is passed into 2015, more troops in, unconstitutionally at that, in Afghanistan. And it is unconstitutional. I'll argue with anybody on that because we don't belong anywhere but the United States because nobody's posing a threat directly to us. And if they are, let them come here. We'll defend our homeland. But, it's just all these wars right now are unconstitutional, period. And I don't care what anybody has to say about that. And, because it's the truth. And you got Big Brother news. I mean, this is ridiculous here. We're going to move on here. We've got a new app here allowing San Diego's people, San Diegans, they call them, to tattle on water wasters. And this is 10news.com reporting. The city of San Diego totally unveiled a smartphone application that will let users take photographs of water waste and report the address to the Water Conservation Department. And a Waste No Water app available for both iPhone and Android devices will use GPS to automatically report the location to the city, which will respond by sending crews to resolve the problem. So they got, again, another Big Brother app. And if you remember a couple years ago, back I think it was 2011 too, they had the Patriot app, which is not patriotic at all. It was just, you see anybody suspicious, you report it to Homeland Security because it's a Homeland Security Patriot app. And also the Eco Snoop. Out in Los Angeles, they had this program with TV commercials to report anything out of the ordinary. If you see a neighbor wasting electricity, you report them too. And there was a little app for that too. And there was another one, what's the other one called? There was another one too, the same thing. It's just like a bunch of the apps that came along that, you report people wasting money, wasting electricity, even though they're paying for it. So you report them and everything else. Spy on your neighbors is exactly what they're trying to portray. Spy on your neighbors. And yeah, people in San Diego, hey, you better tattle on those water wasters. Oh, they're bad boys. You better tattle on them. So the city of San Diego could unconstitutionally, unwarranted, come into your home or wherever and say, just because we got a report. Oh, we got pictures right there. It's like that Pennsylvania commercial they had years ago. About a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever. It was by the Pennsylvania IRS, the Department of Revenue in Pennsylvania. It was a spy satellite, Google satellite that zoomed down and says, Tom, we know where you live, Tom. You owe the state X amount of dollars, Tom. Nice car, Tom. And, people say, well, what's wrong with that? What do you mean what's so wrong with it? Oh, wait a minute. Here's a city, all right? Let's pull it up. All right. Here's your house. Wait a minute, does that guy have a permit for that shed, even though the shed probably came with the house? No, he doesn't. He's got a pool, too. Oh, what's that? Something under a canvas? A car that's not registered? And it could be a car that you're restoring. Even if it ain't, it's your property. Who cares? It's none of their business. So they're going to come, we got warranted information that you got this and that without permits, and, it's Big Brother. I don't need to explain anything else where this is going to go. So you're seeing it happen right here. George Orwell's 1984. Minority Report, however you want to put it, it's happening right here in the front of our eyes. And all being used by technology. And you got the FBI now forcing police departments across the United States to keep quiet about cell phone spying gear. Posted by Big Brother Tile. It's .com, I believe. It's off InfoWars as well. But anyway, not only local police departments across the United States increasingly relying on so-called stingray devices to conduct surveillance on cell phone users, but cops are being forced to keep quiet about operations new documents revealed. And so you got the FBI, this is posted by Russia Today, I'm sorry, and it's also off InfoWars as well. They're saying that FBI forces police departments across the country to shut your mouths. Don't tell the public that we're spying on you. And that is, they talk about wiretapping laws in some states. Oh, you can't record us, but when you call a police department, anyone, you call the police department right now, we're going to say this call is being recorded. Even though some states have certain wiretapping laws, you need both parties' permission. And here in Rhode Island, all you need is one party's permission. So you could be in part of the conversation. Nobody else has to know you're recording them, as long as you're part of it and you self-consent and one consent for the conversation. But different states have different laws, but yeah, it's all right for them to violate the wiretapping laws. That's different. You know what I mean? And anyway, you got the FBI criticizes tech giant Apple and Google for encrypting phones. Oh, you can't have encrypted phones, Google and Apple, because we can't spy on you. And it must piss the FBI off so bad. So I encourage all people out there who make cell phones and cell phone networks to make these phones. And FBI Director James Comey, should be Connie, not Commie, Connie, like a communist. Anyway, has taken Apple and Google to the woodshed for introducing encryption on their devices, making it impossible for police to gain access to them. Good. And it very well should be. And Commie's remark, he's a commie, all right, that's for sure. Remarks follow criticism by the Justice Department after Apple encrypted iMessage and texting and FaceTime calling. And law enforcement officials and government have criticized the companies for making it virtually impossible to view web histories, photos, and videos on locked smartphones. Last week, Apple and Google announced they would introduce technology making it difficult for police to search phones. Good. And the police have no right to search the phone. They have to go get a warrant under the Fourth Amendment. They have to get a warrant for the specific phone to be searched, the specific person, and specifically what they're looking for. That has to be obtained by a warrant, by a judge has to sign this. So police have no authority to search your phone, especially without your consent or knowledge. That this ain't a dragnet police state. Well, they think it is, but it's not. You know, and I encourage all these cell phone providers and everybody else to make these phones, computers, everything that does this. Because so many people get in trouble. I mean, people get in trouble. I mean, somebody could just, you got to get a picture emailed to you. Not even know what it is. You open it up, there's a picture. Oh, man, that's not what I want to say. You close it out, and all of a sudden, the next morning, the FBI is banging your door in, and because you got some kind of a stuff they don't want you to have. And most of the time, 99% of the time, this stuff is distributed by the FBI just to hook and trap people. And, I mean, look at the Pentagon. Thousands of computers in the Pentagon caught with child pornography on it. I know so many people got screwed royally, had nothing to do with it. They went in something by accident and X'd out, and all of a sudden they're in court for child pornography charges. I mean, it is ridiculous. And it's all set up by the feds. Again, 99% of the time, it's by feds. And sure, there's perverts out there. But you know what? You know, most of the stuff is being led in the abatement by police departments and federal agencies just to make a quota and such. It's ridiculous. And FBI criticizes tech giants Apple and computer. And Comey, you know, the big Comey from the FBI director, he's like, he doesn't like it one bit because he's like, yeah, we can't spy on your phone. And it must piss him off so bad. And I know it pisses off this guy, the Chicago police chief, Josh Feldman from Mediate reports. Chicago police chief, iPhone, the phone of choice for pedophiles, he says. The information leaked by Edward Snowden last year raised the public consciousness quite a bit about user privacy and security in using certain services. In recent weeks, the article states that Apple CEO Tim Cook has been emphasizing a new focus on user security and encryption. Both Apple and Google have implemented stronger data encryption, and it's hard to compromise user data. And it's just like, you know what I mean, like, it's good because we need to have more companies that do this. And it's pissing the cops off. And you can see the Chicago police chief, a lot of the police departments, the FBI director Comey, you know, the Russian communists, you know, because these people at the top, they're just scum. You know what I mean? We don't have to get into that. But anyway, we got to move on. We got about a minute left. And we're going to get right into the police state news when we get back. And this is ridiculous. And it's George Orwell's 1984, Big Brother in your face right there. And you know what? If people have computers, when you delete stuff, it doesn't get deleted off the hard drive. It deletes out of the memory part, but what happens, it gets put in a certain space, and it gets waiting to get overwritten with stuff. So we need to get up certain programs to actually they call grinding up the information, you know, totally disposing of it, wiping out your hard drive. So there's programs and all kinds of stuff out there. You could do that, free access programs that do that. ccleaner.com is one of them, I believe. But anyway, you need to keep your privacy safe, and to do that from government intrusion. And if you're not home, unplug your router, or shut the Wi-Fi off on your computer. So when you're not home, nobody can tamper into the system because they hack passwords all the time. And you got Thailand considers tracking tourists with GPS after banning Orwell's 1984. Kit Daniels from InfoWars reports. Thailand, which began arresting citizens last summer for reading copies of George Orwell's 1984, is now considering tracking tourists with GPS devices. Oh, you can't read George Orwell's 1984 because you're reading the Globalist Plan playbook. And, you know, the books are outlawed, the Bible's outlawed in many countries, and I'm sure eventually, if people like Obama stay in office, the Bible in George Orwell's 1984 is going to be outlawed here too. And it's just, we're living under this whole technocracy control grid, the scientific dictatorship, man. We got to step up and join, you know, service providers and say, hey, we want more protection against the federal government. And it's the federal government that's more of a threat than hackers. You know what I mean? And that's the sad part about the whole thing. But we do got to go to break. We'll be back in our last segment. We're going to dive right into the police state because it is massive, folks. We'll be right back on the Truth Radio Show right here at alternatecurrentradio.com. And welcome back to our final segment of the Truth Radio Show right here at alternatecurrentradio.com. We're going to dive right into the police state news, but before we do so, we're going to go to our quote of the week. And our quote of the week is by Thomas Jefferson. And he states, the two enemies of the people are criminals and government. So let us tie the second down with the chains of the Constitution, so the second will not become the legalized version of the first. And that's by President Thomas Jefferson. And how how prophetic is that statement? I mean, you're seeing our government now becoming the criminals. Our government, being the threat of localization. I mean, because you have domestic threats and you have foreign threats. Well, our government's now becoming that domestic threat. Couldn't even come up with a word at first because it's so mind-boggling. It really is. It's so disgusting to even know that this is going on. I mean, our government's supposed to serve us, serve the Constitution, that's it. Not nanny-nize everything, not monitor everything, but they're doing it. Because a group of elite hijacked and became criminal elements within our government to do this. I mean, what they're doing is insane, and what they do now is because they know posse comitatus, they can't use the military on the streets, even though they do anyway during crisis or staged terror attacks. But what they're doing is they're federalizing the local police departments. And that's going to lead us right into our police state news, folks. And a video, this is disgusting, by Steve Watson reports a video, cop smashes the window, tases man as he refuses to show ID during a traffic stop. And more disgustingly, he had his children in the car with his wife. And a police officer in Indiana was filmed smashing through a car window, tasering and yanked out a passenger after he refused to simply show his ID during a routine traffic stop. And mind you, he wasn't driving. Because if you're not driving, you are not obligated to show your ID. You are not. It's not a law. You are free to travel amongst the country without showing your papers, without infringement. But unfortunately, because when you get a driver's license, you do have to show, if you get pulled over, police, that's signing upon their regulations. And I don't like it, but you know what? That's the way that part is. But if you're a passenger in the vehicle, you are not required to show identification. And I don't care what law you think there is or what law you think you're following, whatever. It's not a law. The Constitution trumps that law. And it's disgusting. And according to a Fox 32 report, Hammond police claimed that they were left with no choice when Jamal Jones said he did not have ID with him and refused to leave the vehicle because they were telling him to get out of the car. The video is right on Infowars.com if you want to look at it. I mean, it'll make your blood curl. And if it doesn't make your blood boil, and you just liberty curl at that. And if it doesn't, I mean, you're not a human being. You're really not. And Jones, his girlfriend, Lisa, and their children, aged 14 and 7, were rushed to the hospital to visit Mahone's mother, who was literally on her deathbed. The cops say they pulled the family over because Mahone was, that's the wife there, was not wearing a seatbelt. Again, another unconstitutional thing to look in your vehicle that's violating the Fourth Amendment. Illegal search and seizures. We've got to pull you over because you don't have a seatbelt on, which that's unconstitutional too. If you're a grown adult, you should have your choice to have your seatbelt on or not. I mean, that's just far-fetched ridiculousness. And for them to say, hey, you have to have your seatbelt, again, nanny-nizing. That's where this word comes into. I'm actually going to submit that into the dictionary, nanny-nizing, and put the stuff in there because that should actually be a word. And you've seen this happen now. I mean, and the guy, the gentleman, Mr. Jones, he's telling the police officers, I don't have ID. Then he's saying, politely, I don't have to show it, which he doesn't. And he has a right to say that. He didn't open his window all the way, and you don't have to. You just open a little so you can talk to the officer. And they smashed the window with 2 kids in the back. He didn't do nothing. Smashed the window with 2 kids in the back and pulled them out of the car, tasering them in front of the kids. On his way to see his mother on her deathbed. It's just really... Now you got a school, there's 6 cops, K-9 unit, on old man looking for dandelions. Because looking for dandelions is such a violation of the law. And this is reported by Reason, Lenore Skeensay. I can't pronounce the last name, I apologize. Anyway, danger, man with a weapon spotted near school. And according to the InsideHalton.com, the Oakville, Canada man was armed with a kitchen knife and on for the hunt for dandelions. A 65-year-old man in search of dandelions for a recipe caused an Oakville public school to be put in a hold on secure late Monday afternoon. And the incident occurred shortly before 3 o'clock when the male was spotted walking with a small kitchen knife along the Pilgrim Wood public school fence line near 3rd line in Upper Middle Road West. Excuse me for being tongue-tied here. But anyway, it's because I had a couple of interviews to do today or at some other radio shows, and it's just been a long day, and I had a couple of press conferences to go to, so I'm a little talked out. And I still got another show to do. It's supposed to be on somebody's show today too as well. So it's just like a lot of stuff going on. So please excuse me for mispronouncing words here. It's just, you got all the stuff on your mind. You can't like spit it out, the way you want to. But anyway, you got a month, and again, look for dandelions. But the other side of the coin is too, walking down. I mean, you should have probably secured the knife as well. But that could go both ways. I mean, it really can. But still, you don't go attack a man, especially with a knife. I mean, it's sick a canine unit on an old man with a knife and says, "Hey, excuse me, so what are you doing with the knife?" And again, I'm sure the gentleman like, "I'm sorry," drops the knife. It's misunderstanding. Ask the gentleman what he's doing. He's got a knife, doesn't have a gun. Ask him what he's doing. And I'm sure he would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was just looking for dandelions." Puts the knife down. That's it. Everybody goes home happy. But they got to stick the canine after him, sit there and probably laugh at him. And that was in Canada, and that stuff happens here all the time in the United States. And in this sense, we're a worldwide news show, so we got to cover stuff from all over the world. And you got Montana newspaper editor arrested, faces 2 years in jail for photography at a traffic accident. And again, another, you can't take pictures, which is your First Amendment to do so. And Andrew Meyer from PNOC reports, Vince Lovato is the editor of the Lake County Leader in Post in Montana and has been a journalist for 33 years. And when Lovato heard about the car collision last Wednesday, he and his wife, a reporter from the same paper, drove to the scene of the accident to gather information and take photographs. What normal reporters do. Instead of being allowed to take photographs, a Montana Highway Patrol trooper puts Lovato in handcuffs and arrests him for obstructing a peace officer. I'm just so pissed that I can't pronounce this stuff right. Obstructing a peace officer, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. All that because he was doing his job as a journalist, which is covered under the First Amendment. And Lovato is 53 years old, with 3 decades of experience in journalism, yet his First Amendment incident was violated. I mean, it's for taking pictures of a car accident. I'm sure the trooper came over, hey, because it happened to me a lot of times. So they come right over. They know you're a journalist. I mean, you can see the press passes. You can see the cameras. You're a journalist. And even if you're not, you know what I mean? They come right over. They should use professionality, which they don't. Oh, hey, you get out of here. You can't film here. You can't take. Oh, what do you mean I can't? I'm a press. It's my job to report this stuff. Oh, no, get out of here, and they start threatening you and everything else, and you hold your ground and say, this is my Constitution. And I do this all the time. I tell them right out, unless you write the Constitution, back off. That's it. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's just so bad what's going on. I mean, the freedom of speech, freedom of press, all that's being thrown out the window. And you got cops threatened to take man's baby to child services over refusal to show ID. Again, where is the communication problem with these police departments, with these police officers? There is not a law these people have to show ID to you. It's not. I mean, if they're driving, that's one thing, and it's probably an arguable case with that. But if they're walking down the street, they're in a passenger vehicle, they do not have to show ID. I mean, that happens to me too as well. I mean, say, oh, we're looking for a person of your description. That's the biggest excuse. And I tell them right out before they get to say, hey, no, I know what you're doing. You got to tell me that you're looking for a person with my description. It just blows the cop's mind because that's what their protocol, what they're told to say. And then the second thing is, it's just for your safety. You throw that at them, they don't know what to say. And they walk back and they're baffled because you took the words out of their mouth because it's normal protocol. They're always looking for somebody with your description. You know what I mean? You don't even have to answer the questions. You know what I mean? But anyway, cop threatens to take man's baby to child services over refusal to show his ID. Steve Watson from Infowars.com reports a police officer in Ohio was caught on video threatened to take away a man's child and place on the CPS oversight because he refused to ID himself during a routine traffic stop. And Andreas Stockett was stopped by Sandusky police officer Christopher Denny, who said he believed Stockett to be another person, again, like I said, a suspect with outstanding felony warrants. That's what they tell you all the time. We're looking for somebody of your description that has warrants and everything else, like I just stated, and they do this all the time. It's protocol. It's part of police psychology. They use this all the time. At first, the officer claimed he stopped Stockett and his girlfriend, Catherine said, because the license plate number indicated her driver's license was expired. When she produced a valid license, The cop changed the story, suggesting that the couple were driving without headlights at dusk. Then the officer began referring to Stockett as Mr. Newell. And he's saying, that's not me. That's every black man, Stockett protested, maintaining that he did not have to identify himself because there was no probable cause for detainment. And the cop lied. Right on the video, you can see it. Infowars.com. Cop threatens to take man's baby to child services over refusal to show ID. And the cop right away said, well, I pulled you over because we ran your plate, and then it looks like your driver's license was expired. And the woman showed him her new one, said, hey, I got it fixed. It's renewed. Now, then he changes the story to say it was over not having his lights on or something. Then diverts it over to him like he's the culprit, whatever. He wasn't even driving. That's what I'm talking about. This is a constant police state. And you cops out there need to realize that. We do not have to show your ID to you. We don't have to answer your questions. This ain't Nazi Germany. This ain't Russia in some parts or any other country that you have to show identification going somewhere. This is the United States of America. We have a Bill of Rights. You don't like it? Move to those countries. Move to North Korea. If you want to do that stuff, move to North Korea. Stay the hell out of our country. Leave our damn Bill of Rights alone. Leave us alone. You know what I mean? And you're not looking for a person of his description, because I'm sure you're looking for every black man as a person's description. People like me, a perfect description as well of somebody that you're looking for. You know what I mean? It's just like not just black, but everybody. Everybody, no matter who you are. Oh, you could be a 83-year-old lady. Could barely walk. Oh, we're looking for somebody of your description. Yeah, right. And I protested against this. I called the Sandusky Police Department, and I handed them. I did, and I sent them an email, and I want to post this out right on the page here, and I want everybody to email the police chief. His name is John Orchett, Orzch. He's a police chief. His phone number is 419-627-5869. That's his business number. And again, there's information right there. Just type in Google, City of Sandusky, Ohio, City Police. All the contact information's on there. And you can click on the person's names and all that. Email these people. I encourage everybody, email them, flood the damn phone lines and say, hey, this is out of control. No more of this stuff. You got to arrest people, bust people's windows in because they refuse to show an ID. It's just, it really is. It really makes me sick to my stomach. Then, threaten to take the man's baby because he didn't want to comply with your Nazi orders. And I'm sending a message out to there. And the thing is, what pisses me off, why I called them for, because the police department defended the officers. The police chief, I'm sure he defended his officers. You should know. People should blast you with phone calls, blast you with emails, protest outside and inside that police station, because our taxes pay for that. So you have a right to protest in the police station. Form a huge protest, a peaceful protest. Don't stop until these people, something gets done. These officers are reprimanded or something. You know what I mean? Because the other thing, where a woman's window got smashed and they pulled her husband out. You should be protesting at that police department too. I emailed those people as well. Just go to the articles, find the police stations, just Google them. You can get the contact information right on the websites and email them, call them, flood the hell out of them to let them know we are not going to tolerate the police state. We are not. We're citizens. We are not Nazi captives. We're citizens of the United States of America. We have a Bill of Rights, and we're sick of your crap. We're going to stand up against it. And speaking of Nazis, the New York Police Department cops arrest man after taking panoramic photo in public park, because you remember, the Homeland Security documents, the MIAC report, Southern Poverty Law Center stating to law enforcement officers, anybody that's taking pictures of public places, buildings, federal buildings, all that, could be a terrorist and linked to Al-Qaeda. Carlos Miller from PNOC reports, minutes after taking a panoramic photo with his new iPhone 5S from inside a public park Thursday. I'm surprised they didn't give him a $1,000 fine. It's part of a national forest, even though it's not, probably, whatever. But I'm surprised they didn't get that either. Well, that's coming next month. But anyway, taking pictures from inside a park Thursday, a pair of New York City cops drove up to Sean Randall Thomas and began demanding to know what he was holding in his other hand. Because you can't hold a phone because it has photos. You can't take photos. And Thomas was holding the e-cigarette in his left hand specifically, and knocking MVP with an Inspire Nautilus tank which can be purchased for $35 on the internet, but he didn't feel obligated to inform the officer of his specifies, telling him that's my business, which he stated, that's my business. As he began recording with the iPhone from his right hand, and again, go to Infowars.com, you can see the video, the cop then said, now it's mine, as he stepped out of his car and swaggered up to Thomas, who has been arrested so many times for photographing or recording cops that he has lost count. So this guy is like that dude in Austin, Texas, that's always being arrested for recording police, when it's your constitutional right to do that. But, you know what, the police came up to him. He was simply minding his own business, taking a picture in a park. They came up to him because, it's such a terrorist act to take pictures in a park. Unbelievable. Again, in New York Police Department, Nazis do this. I mean, the New York Police is more police state in New York City than anywhere else. But he has yet been convicted. His latest court victory less than 3 months ago for an incident in the subway that went viral involving a rogue cop named Rojas. And the rest of the articles on Infowars.com. We're almost out of time here. And now this is disturbing. Now, Don Salazar reports from Infowars.com. Call of Duty director calls for U.S. troops to occupy public schools. A former writer and director behind a successful Call of Duty video game franchise recently expressed his desire to see American soldiers patrolling the hallways of public schools in the near future. And we're almost out of time, but you know what? Hey, sir, have you ever heard of something called posse comitatus? Exactly. And, I'm the teachers. I'm the staff in the school. They'll protect the students. And our parents volunteer to do security or whatever, but we don't need patrolling the schools. That's against posse comitatus. And it teaches the kids, it conditions them for militarized police state. But we are out of time, and we'll get back. We got next week, God willing, we're going to have a lot more news. I mean, again, we still got more police state stuff we didn't cover. Anyway, we're about out of time, and thank you for listening. You listen to the Truth Radio Show right here on alternatecurrentradio.com. See you next week, and God bless.